Happy Christmas Eve, guys. It's the Coaster Battleman here, bringing you an awesome video. Another coaster countdown. It could be a little controversial throughout the video, but this is the top 10 coasters at Six Flags Over Georgia. This is my opinion on which coasters are the best at Over Georgia. And let's move on to number 10, which is Da Lonega Mine Train. This is the classic mine train of Over Georgia and is the original coaster at Over Georgia, the first coaster to be at this park when it opened, and it still operates today. It has some nice turns like the turn you can see here in this picture, multiple lift hills, and a nice ride time. This mine train is a solid coaster, could be kind of rough because it is old, but still a nice ride for the families. Number 9 is Georgia's Cyclone, and this is one of the two wooden coasters at this park, and it's not the greatest. It's kind of rough, has some good parts, some bad parts, and it's just an okay coaster. It's not one of the better Coney Island Cyclone coasters. Number 8 is the Great American Scream Machine, and this is quite a better wooden coaster than Georgia's Cyclone. It has some nice airtime moments, a decent drop in height, and overall it's a decent ride for the thrill seekers. Gives some nice airtime moments. Could be kind of rough, but it's bearable to me, and it looks like a pretty nice coaster at Over Georgia to complement their depth. Number 7 is Georgia's Scorcher, and this is the B&M stand-up coaster of Over Georgia, and this is a nice supporting coaster at Over Georgia, the most recent stand-up coaster to be built. Has two inversions, a nice drop in there, and overall it's a nice stand-up coaster. It's one of the smoothest stand-ups as well. Definitely one of the best B&M stand-ups and one of the better coasters at Over Georgia. Number 6 is Batman the Ride, and this coaster, to me, it gets controversy, because, in my opinion, it's not the greatest invert out there. To me, it doesn't really belong in the top 10 B&M inverts out there. So that's why it's coming in at number 6. It's a cloned coaster that's cloned all over the place. And it's a pretty short ride, too, which is kind of a problem with it. But it's still a very good ride. It has some intense inversions, a good drop. And it's just a traditional invert. Number 5, you may be familiar with this coaster. Back in 2015, it was named Ninja, and it was known for being the worst to second worst coaster at Over Georgia. This was Ninja, and now it's Blue Hawk. With Blue Hawk, it has some nice vest restraints, as well as some new track. So Blue Hawk is a much smoother coaster with better restraints. So the elements are a lot better, like that butterfly element, the double corkscrew, and the sidewinder. The drop looks okay as well. And overall, Blue Hawk, it looks like a nice coaster at Over Georgia now. If this coaster did not get the refurbishment it did for the 2016 season, it would definitely not be in the coaster countdown. Number 4 is Superman Ultimate Flight, and this coaster is a clone. I totally get it, but this is a very good clone. The pretzel loop is awesome and makes the ride worth it. The first drop is pretty good as well. The turns are they kind of meander around, but the 0G roll at the end is alright as well. This is just a solid coaster in my opinion. Not a bad ride at all, it just could be a bit longer. Number 3 is Mindbender, and this is a pretty awesome coaster, and it's a very unique coaster when you compare it to the coasters that we just saw, like Superman, Ultimate Flight, Batman the Ride. But Mindbender has a very original layout. One vertical loop is at the beginning of the ride, and one of them is at the end of the ride, right before the final brakes. And this coaster, the two vertical loops are intense, the drops are pretty fun. There's some good turns spread throughout the ride. This coaster goes through the terrain. In the first vertical loop, it looks like you can't notice it really at all because tons of the trees are covering your view, and you won't know when the first vertical loop is, which is something I found pretty cool with the POV of this ride. Provided by Coaster Force. on YouTube. Number 2 is Daredevil Dive, and this is the Gerstlauer Eurofighter of the park, and this is one of the best Gerstlauer Eurofighters. It has some solid elements, a nice drop, a vertical lift hill, and overall it's just a great coaster. Plus it's the newest coaster at Over Georgia, which is kind of a shame because it was built in 2011. They should have gotten SNS 40 Free Flyer arms to Georgia Cyclone in 2016. But overall, it's still a very good coaster. And number 1 is the B&M Hyper Goliath. And some people are saying Mako is better than this now, but this coaster is still very fun. It has a nice massive helix, great airtime, a nice drop, and overall it's a great hyper coaster. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more videos, and Merry Christmas to all enthusiasts and people all over the world. And stay tuned for more videos. Merry Christmas.